My name is Hannah Prescott. I am 35 years old, and this is my true story. This really happened to me, and it completely changed my life. I once trusted someone deeply, but what they did to me was so shocking, so terrifying that I'm still haunted by it. Today, I want you to know how betrayal can come from the people you love the most. What started as something small soon turned into a nightmare I never imagined. If you really want to know how it all happened, then stay with me till the very end, because my story will leave you speechless. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, this story is written and edited by Dark Lifeside Diaries. It all began when I started therapy a few years ago, something I never thought I'd need. My life was spiraling after my fiancé broke off our engagement without warning, and I was sinking into depression. That's when I met Dr. Elise, a therapist recommended by a coworker. She was elegant, calm, and spoke in a soothing voice that made me feel safe. At first, I thought she was helping me. Every session felt like a weight was lifting. She told me things like, "You're stronger than you think," and "Don't let anyone control your narrative." I trusted her completely, more than I had ever trusted anyone before. Soon I began sharing things I had never told a soul about: my fears, my insecurities, even secrets from my childhood. But slowly things started to feel wrong. She began asking about my family in strange ways, about my parents, about money, about people I dated in the past. At first, I thought it was normal therapy talk, but then I noticed her interest in my personal life was too intense. She started showing up in places outside her office, at the grocery store near my apartment once, even at a cafe I went to with friends. She smiled as if it was all coincidence, but my gut told me otherwise. Then something even more disturbing happened. She suggested I cut ties with certain friends, claiming they were toxic and holding me back. It made me uneasy, but her words echoed in my head whenever I saw those friends, and eventually I pulled away from them. Elise was isolating me, though I didn't realize it at the time. One night while leaving her office late, I thought I saw her car following me, its headlights in my rearview mirror for miles. My heart raced, but I convinced myself it was paranoia. Then 2 weeks later, I received an anonymous text message that made my blood run cold. "You tell me your secrets, but do you know mine?" I froze. No one else could know what I had confessed except Elise. My phone buzzed again. Some truths are better left hidden. Hannah, my therapist, the one person I thought was saving me, wasn't just listening. She was watching, waiting, and planning something far darker than I ever imagined. The night I received those messages, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my phone clutched in my hand, waiting for another text. Nothing came, but the silence was worse, like the calm before a storm. The next morning, I walked into Elise's office with my heart pounding. She greeted me like always, warm smile, soft voice, offering me tea as though nothing had happened. But I couldn't stop thinking, was she the one who sent those messages? During the session, she leaned forward, her eyes fixed on me, and asked, "Do you feel like people are watching you, Hannah? Sometimes our minds create paranoia when we're under stress." My chest tightened. Was she gaslighting me? I tried to brush it off, but her words felt too pointed, too knowing. Over the next few weeks, the strange incidents escalated. My apartment door was left unlocked when I knew I had secured it. Personal items, like my journal and an old photo album, were slightly moved from where I left them. One evening, I found a sticky note on my bathroom mirror that simply said, "Trust me." My hand shook as I read it because no one had a key to my apartment except me. I went to the police, but without proof they dismissed me, suggesting maybe I was stressed and misplacing things. The worst part? Elise had already planted seeds of doubt in my head, so part of me wondered if I really was imagining it. But then came the night that confirmed my worst fears. I was walking home late, cutting through a quiet street, when I felt the presence of someone behind me. I turned quickly, but the street was empty. My pace quickened, my heart slamming in my chest, until I heard footsteps matching mine. I spun around again, and there, under a dim streetlight, stood Elise. She didn't move. She just smiled almost gently before saying, "It's dangerous walking alone at night, Hannah. You never know who might be watching." I froze, unable to breathe. She walked past me slowly, like nothing was wrong, but her words echoed in my head for days. After that, I tried to quit therapy, but when I stopped showing up, she called me repeatedly, left voicemails saying things like, "We can't end things like this. You need me, and if you cut me out, you'll regret it." Then my friends, what few I had left, started pulling away even more. One told me she received strange messages about me, things I had confessed in therapy, twisted into lies. Another said Elise had warned her I was unstable. My world was collapsing, and Elise was the one holding the match. Desperate, I went back to her office one last time to confront her. She sat calmly, hands folded in her lap, as I demanded, To know what she was doing, she didn't deny it. Instead, she leaned close and whispered, "You came to me broken, Hannah. I'm the only one who truly knows you. Without me, you're nothing." Her words sent a chill so deep I thought I'd faint. I stormed out vowing never to return, but that was when things turned truly sinister. That very night I found a photograph taped to my door. It was a picture of me sleeping in my bed. My blood ran cold as I realized the truth. She hadn't just been following me, she had been inside my home, and she was only getting started. The photograph of me sleeping haunted me every second. I couldn't eat, couldn't rest, couldn't even close my eyes without imagining Elise standing in the shadows of my bedroom watching. My first instinct was to pack my things and flee, but something inside me knew that running wouldn't stop her. She'd already infiltrated every corner of my life, twisting my mind, poisoning my friendships, making me question reality. She wanted me scared, she wanted me alone, and now she wanted me broken enough to crawl back to her. I taped my locks, installed cameras, even stayed up all night with a kitchen knife in my hand, but Elise always seemed one step ahead. The cameras would glitch out at odd hours, my taped locks would be intact in the morning, yet things inside my apartment would still be misplaced. My hairbrush gone from the sink, my favorite mug moved to another cabinet. She was toying with me and I was losing the battle. Desperate for answers, I started digging into Elise's past late nights on my laptop. I combed through online forums, local news archives, anything I could find. At first there was nothing. Her record was spotless, almost too spotless for someone her age, but then I stumbled upon an old buried article from another city 3 states away. A therapist named Elise Caldwell had been quietly investigated after multiple patients accused her of emotional manipulation, boundary violations, and stalking. The case was dropped, the victims discredited, but the chilling part was the photo attached to the article. It was Elise, only with a different last name. She had moved, changed her identity, and started over. My stomach sank as I realized I wasn't her first victim. I was just the next one armed with this knowledge. I went to the police again, presenting what I found. They brushed it off, said it wasn't enough, that I was connecting dots out of fear, but I could see it in their eyes. They didn't believe me, just like no one believed those other patients. Elise had perfected her mask of professionalism, her fake empathy, her carefully curated image, and I was unraveling too fast to convince anyone otherwise. Then came the breaking point. One night I returned home to find all the lights in my apartment blazing, every single one. My hands shook as I pushed the door open, calling out, but silence greeted me. On the coffee table sat a neat pile of items, my journal, my keys, and a framed photo of my family that had been missing for weeks. Beneath them was a handwritten note in her elegant script. "I take care of what's mine." My vision blurred with tears and rage. She had been here again. She was showing me she could come and go as she pleased. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor of my apartment, staring at the door, waiting for it to creak open. Instead, at 3:12 a.m. exactly, my phone buzzed. It was a video message. I opened it with trembling fingers, and the screen filled with the sight of me curled up on my couch just minutes earlier, the same blanket still draped over my shoulders. The video was shot from outside my window. She was out there watching me even as I sat frozen, phone in hand. I rushed to the window, flung it open, screamed into the night, but the street below was empty. She had vanished, and the days that followed, my paranoia consumed me. I saw Elise everywhere, her figure in crowds, her reflection in glass, her car tailing me on the freeway. I tried to fight back, tried to set traps, tried to catch her in the act, but every attempt left me more disoriented, more certain she was orchestrating my every move. She didn't want to kill me, I realized with sickening clarity. She wanted to own me, to dismantle me piece by piece, until I had nowhere to turn but her, and worst of all, it was working. I began hearing her voice in my head even when she wasn't there. Sometimes soft and soothing, sometimes sharp and cruel. "You need me, Hannah. Without me, you'll crumble." I slammed my hands over my ears, screamed into pillows, begged for silence. But the echo of her control clung to me like smoke. I knew I couldn't survive like this. There had to be a way to end it. I decided to turn her methods against her. If she thrived on control, I would rip it from her hands. I gathered every scrap of evidence. I had the articles, the notes, the photos, and planned to confront her. In her sanctuary, her office, the place where it all began, I told myself I'd record everything, expose her mask, force her into the light where no manipulation could protect her. But deep down I wondered if I was walking into her trap, if she was waiting for me to finally step back into her cage. The night before I was set to confront her, I dreamed of Elise standing over me, her hand brushing my hair as she whispered, "Good girl, you're finally ready." When I woke, the imprint of fingers lingered on my scalp, and I wasn't sure anymore if it had only been a dream. Still, I knew there was no turning back. Tomorrow everything would end one way or another. The morning of the confrontation felt like walking into my own execution. My body was trembling, my stomach was twisted into knots, but a strange calm sat beneath the fear, as if part of me knew this was inevitable. I gathered my evidence, every article, every note, every photo, and slipped my phone into my pocket, ready to record. As I approached Elise's office, memories crashed back. The countless sessions where she sat across from me, her voice soft, her eyes unblinking, always peeling away my defenses as if she could crawl inside my skin today, though I wouldn't sit quietly in that chair today. I would drag her mask into the light. When I walked in, Elise looked up from her desk, calm as ever, her lips curving into that smile that made my stomach churn. "Hannah," she said smoothly, "I was beginning to worry about you. You've been avoiding me." I didn't answer, just set my folder of evidence on her desk. "I know who you are," I said, my voice shaking but steady. "Enough, you've done this before. I found the article. You're not a therapist, you're a predator." Elise's expression didn't falter, she simply tilted her head, studying me like I was the patient unraveling before her. "Is that what you think?" She whispered, her tone almost tender. "Or is that just the story your mind created to make sense of how much you need me?" My pulse thundered in my ears, but I shoved the phone into her face, hitting record. "Say something now. Let's see if your calm little mask holds up when the world hears what you've been doing." For the first time, I saw her smile slip, if only for a second. But then she leaned forward, her voice low and intimate, every word dripping with venom. "No one will believe you, Hannah. They never do. Look at you, sleep-deprived, paranoid, unraveling. You've already played right into my hands. To everyone else, you're just another unstable woman clinging to wild accusations. I don't destroy people, they destroy themselves. I just guide them there." My hand shook so violently I nearly dropped the phone, but then she did something I didn't expect. She stood, walked around the desk, and placed her hand lightly on my shoulder. My skin crawled at her touch. "But you're different," she whispered in my ear. "You fight harder than the others. That's why you fascinate me. That's why I'll never let you go." That was the moment the switch flipped inside me. All the fear, all the manipulation, all the endless nights of being stalked and gaslit boiled into pure rage. I shoved her hand off me and screamed, "I am not yours." Before she could react, I hurled the folder across the room, papers scattering everywhere. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. "I don't care if no one believes me. I don't care if I look crazy. I'm done letting you in." Elise just stood there watching me with those cold, calculating eyes, like a scientist observing her experiment collapse, and then for the first time she lost control, her face twisted. Not into anger, but something darker, something feral. "You'll come back," she hissed. "They always come back, you'll see." I backed toward the door, keeping the phone recording, my heart pounding out of my chest. "Not this time," I whispered, and walked out. The weeks that followed were a blur. I turned over every scrap of evidence to anyone who would listen, journalists, online forums, even victims' advocacy groups. Slowly, her name began circulating, whispers of her past resurfacing, cracks forming in her perfect mask. Her practice shut down under review. She disappeared from town, and for a while I almost believed I had won, but victory didn't feel like peace. The damage she left behind lingered. Every creak in my apartment still made me jump. Every face in a crowd still looked like hers, and her voice still echoed in my mind. When I was alone some nights, I woke up convinced I could feel her hand in my hair again, her whisper curling around me. "Good girl. You'll never be free." And maybe she was right. Maybe monsters like Elise don't just vanish when you expose them. Maybe they crawl into the deepest corners of your mind and stay there, feeding, waiting. I don't know where she is now. No one does. But sometimes when I pass by a stranger and catch the faint trace of a familiar perfume, my body freezes, my blood runs cold, and I know she's still out there watching, waiting. And the terrifying part? A piece of me wonders if one day, despite everything, I might go back to her, because the grip she had on me wasn't just horror. It was addiction, and addictions have a way of coming back to claim you.